Hey, welcome to Insight with Moon Shadow. I'm Moon Shadow. It's been a while. It's been it's been a spell since I've been around. However, in lieu of everything that's going on in the world, I felt compelled to want to come back, and I want to thank I want to thank all the people who kept in touch with me and asked me when I kept on coming. Um, and this is international. Uh, so thank you for making me accountable and making me not forget what I have here with Insight with Moon Shadow. But today we're going to be talking about basically mental health. Um, it seems like everyone's going crazy. It seems like the whole world is in chaos, and rightfully so. It really is. However, looking at things from as optimistically possible that we can look at things in a hopeful way. Um, I wanted to, share some tips, some reminders, gentle hints, um, and if you will, some nuggets of knowledge, wisdom. It's been a while, and I think it's been a struggle for many people to have to go through everything that's been going on within the world. There's a lot more negativity, a lot more chaos, and I'm not just talking about politically. I'm saying just overall, a lot of what's going on is it seems um, it seems like hopeless, but there is hope. Um, of course, there's hope. Now, we're going to take this from a mind, body, and spirit perspective. So that way, we're going to start off with the mind now. Now, within your mind, a lot of us, since COVID, we've kind of pretty much stayed by ourselves. We didn't really. Many people stayed antisocial. Of course, they had their social networks and all that kind of thing, and they use their social platforms. But that in itself isn't always social. So the Instagrams and the Pinterests and the Facebook and even YouTube, all of that stuff is a tool. That does not necessarily mean that you shouldn't get out there and go to the grocery store, take a walk, do anything like that. You know. So the first thing is really your social circle. Don't let your social circle close up. Keep your social networks active. You know, uh, connect connect human to human. We all need, or you're human animal or anything like that. We all need that connection. That's so important because we ultimately are pack animals. So that being said, we are individuals that require other people. Now, I've been solitary a lot of my life, but then also too, there have been people in a small but wonderfully caring and trusting and loving smaller circle that they are just there's my tried and true. But social networks, that's really important. Also too, in since with COVID and a lot of things that have happened, a lot of us have become more solitary, and we become more like a world within ourselves. So we haven't really done a whole lot. It's important to build your relationships, and the relationships you do have, try to strengthen them. There are a lot of people that I've known, I've loved, I've lost, and I miss. Um, and for whatever reason, life has its moments where things change, and that's one thing that is inevitable, change. But that's one big part of it is to build and to nurture your social circle and your relationships with people that you really love and you really hold near and dear. People don't say I love you enough. They don't say I care about you. They don't check up on each other. So do that. That's really important. to reach out to someone. If you see someone is having a hard time, even if they're not within the social circle, reach out to them. Just ask how they're doing. You know, just be kind to them. That's a big part. That's a big part of it. Also, too, it's so important to practice mindfulness and to be self-aware and to be really, truly know your body and know your surroundings and know what's going on in your life. It's so easy to check out and shut down, and and I've been guilty of that too in my life, and it's not something that is really helpful uh, at all for any of us. So now, those are the things that can really work with mind. And also, too, mind you, if you require something that is above your own scope of wanting to connect and wanting to ground, reach out to somebody. If it's getting therapy, then get therapy. If it's going out and going into nature, then do that. But it's really, really important to be self-aware and to really focus on being good to yourself. Now, as a caveat to that, if being good to yourself is harming someone else or treating somebody else like crap, then don't be yourself. Then don't, because we already have enough of that. We already have enough hate. We already have enough of divisiveness. We already have enough negative energy and negative juju out there. So, if you can, try to practice good juju. Try to share good thoughts and good deeds, even if you don't even know the person, even if the person doesn't even know you. So that's some of the things that you can do mentally within your mind. Okay, and know that you're not alone. You're not alone. So that's a big part of it. Now, within your body, we ignore our bodies all the time. We do things that we harm our bodies. We treat them like crap. Uh, we really do not understand or bother to really, again, be self-aware and to treat our body with kindness and love, right? Self-love, kindness, all of that. We don't do it enough. So we work too hard, we push ourselves too much, and a lot of people think that pushing the hustle is amazing. It's an incredible thing, and it's not. The hustle's only good while you can hustle. So a lot of things that I've told my students before was, if you only had 1% of battery on your phone, how many phone calls could you make? So ultimately, as a lot of my students mention water bell is life work balance. So find the balance between doing too much and not doing anything. That's really, really important. So now, uh, healthy habits are really, really important. So you can't eat, kale chips all the time. If you want Cheetos or whatever, I understand that. And I, again, I eat what I want. I'm an omnivore. So, however, making healthy choices at times can make a difference. And if you make healthy choices more often than not, then you are going to be healthier and you're going to be better for yourself and your body, and your body's going to thank you for it, for sure. You'll you'll lose weight, you'll feel better, your overall mental state is going to be better. All of that is going to change for the positive. So that's really, really important. Now, this is a funny thing. This next one is funny because getting rest and sleep. I don't get a whole lot of rest, and I don't get a whole lot of sleep. And I'm going to tell you that you should get sleep. Everyone is different. Everyone gets their well-needed hours. Like I know people that if they could sleep 12 hours, 15 hours a day, they would, and they would be feeling crazy awesome about it, and they would feel great. Um, to me, that's way too much, and I'd end up being like a zombie. So I usually get like 4 or 5 hours, kind of like Da Vinci, kind of like a lot of these visionary, crazy people in history, crazy creatives, basically. They've most of them usually slept. Like even Tesla was, I think Tesla was like that too. But they only slept like 4 or 5 hours because they were constantly creating, constantly thinking, constantly moving, and that kind of thing. So sleep and rest. Get rest, and it doesn't necessarily mean sleep. It could be meditation. It could be taking mindful steps in walking or things like that. That's really, really important. So sleep and rest. Get and be hydrated too. Make sure you drink enough. And tequila and whiskey does not count. However, water, tea, stuff like that would be helpful. So stay hydrated, get plenty of rest, and work on that as well. Now, also too within your body, you have to move. You have to move your body, no matter whether it's walking or whether it's exercise or it's doing CrossFit or doing Tai Chi or doing yoga, whatever you want to do. But move your body. Do not stay solitary. Do not stay sedentary. Do not stay motionless and do things. Again, guilty, guilty as charged of not always being, I work from home. So a lot of times it's like you don't necessarily get out and about, but get out and hike, get out and walk, get out and do gardening or whatever you want to do. But move your body in some way, shape, or form. There are plenty of exercise routines you could do that aren't very high impact, and again, your body and your mind and your spirit will thank you for it. You will be so much better off in doing that. Okay, so now with exercise, I know the standards for exercise, at least up till I don't know, a couple of years ago, was at least 3 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes per session. So if you're looking at about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Now, all of us have an hour and a half or 2 hours to hike or walk or swim or throw a ball around with the kids, whatever. But all of us have that ability to do it. All of us have at least 2 hours to do that per week. It doesn't cost. It doesn't take much. It doesn't. You don't have to go to a gym. And believe me, looking on YouTube, there's plenty of looking into the interwebs of where you can work out and how you can work out, and there's a lot of it that's for free too. So that's really, really important. Now, focusing on the spiritual aspect of things, and this is where a lot of my go-to is. Reason being is that being someone that is always half and half in both realms. I'm always in a different realm a lot of the time, so I see things and can understand things more so than the average human. But looking at that, in the spiritual aspect of things, what's really, really important is have faith, be faithful. And I'm not talking about being Christian. I'm not talking about being Catholic. I'm not talking about being a pagan. I'm not talking about any of that. You pick and you choose. I'm not going to tell you how to choose your spirituality, but it's good to have faith. Some faith in yourself, faith in Mother Earth, faith in Gaia, faith in God. Whatever, whoever the creator or whoever, whatever. It's good to have to be faithful. So being faithful is very, very important. Now, also be aware of downward spiraling. You can't really downward spiral in your life, because one of the things that we do is tend to downward spiral into a negative aspect of things, and that's not something that you want to do. So downward spiraling is really difficult, and it's something where you have to be careful for. It's so easy to dip into the negative and to fall into that trap of that. And sorry if there was an interruption with a little bit of sound. Hopefully you don't hear it. I'm on my home away from home, so that's important. So practicing self-care, and this is not just mentally, but also physically and spiritually. It is so important to do, because a lot of us don't do it enough. We're too caught up with working the 9 to 5, or to making enough money, or all the things that are important, mind you, but they're deeper, more incredibly important things internally. Our own infrastructure, our own bodies and minds. That's also very, very important, because again, if you're exhausted and you're depressed and you're sad, then you don't really have anything left. So tap into that well that you have within yourself, your inner strength, to be able to still, you know, practice self-care and work on within yourself. Because even like, you know, they say when you're on a plane and the plane is some kind of event, some kind of tragedy, some kind of trouble, they say always put the oxygen mask on you first and then put it on the next person. I had a hard time with that a long time ago, but then I realized why. Is if you have an empty cup, then you cannot fulfill somebody else's. You can't fill someone else's cup if your cup is empty. So it's good to fill your own cup and build on that, strengthen yourself. And the better you are to yourself in a non-selfish way, the better you are to others. So that's really, really important. Now, you know, we know that things may be pretty dark, and they seem dark right now from wherever you stand. You can only be so optimistic, and if you uh, see yourself stuck in the middle of um, watching too much news, or reading the paper, or you know, did I call death scrolling on Facebook or something, or social media, you got to be careful with that. Know when to stop, because like again, this is a utility, this is a tool. This is not something that's going to, it's going to enhance your life, yes, but it can also diminish your life if you get too hooked, too stuck in doing that, like with anything. So as you know, with moderation is the key. But if you do anything too much, it's not going to be good for you. So even exercise, you can hurt yourself. Drink too much water, then you're going to pee every 5 minutes. You know, all the things is just so pretty much look at moderation and trying to take really good care of yourself. So now I'm going to close it up, but things may seem really, really dark, and they may seem really, really tough. And when you look around, it seems like lesser and lesser, or lesser and lesser of people are doing well. But that's not permanent. It's temporary. So no matter how dark things can get, always know that the sun rises the next day. Always know that there is something you can do to make things better. Always know that you could change your life and the life of someone else just by being kind, by being generous, by not being a douchebag. How about that? Not being hateful, not being judgeful, not being judgmental, not being critical of them, and not allowing your self critic to ruin yourself. That's important too. So it's an old school, you know, it's an old school quote, but it's appropriate for right here, right now. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. This is 2025, and it still is very important nowadays to think, you know, think about what you're doing before you go do that, because you could be hurting yourself or someone else. So no matter what, just know that things can always get better. It's just going to take some work, and it takes some extra effort to do that. And I apologize, this is like pretty much raw, no editing. This is just me, stream of consciousness, just doing what I've always done. And I've missed all of you, and I want to thank everyone that has stuck around and watched my videos and reached out to me and asked me when I was doing this again, and kept pushing me in a gentle way, some not so gentle. I want to thank you, and I want to say I love you for doing that, because that meant a lot and means a lot to me. Also, too, I'm really hoping to do this on the regular again. So watch the space and stick around, because it's worth it. I'm worth it, and so are you. So it's worth the time. But it's always good connecting with everyone out there, and just know that no matter where you are, we're all connected. So be strong, be amazing, be you. Take care. Peace.